Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am jeffgrantMEDIA. In today's real user review, we're going to be taking a look at the Parkhurst The Richmond Prairie Waxy Commander in the 602M last. Now, Parkhurst did send me these boots as a sample for review, but all the opinions in this video are mine and mine alone. I did not share this content on Parkhurst prior to publication. They will see this when you do. In addition to that, there is an affiliate link in the description box down below. If you're considering buying this boot or any other product from Parkhurst, please consider using that link. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but I do get a small percentage of that sale kicked back to me, and all that money goes back into the channel to help me produce more content so consumers can make informed purchasing decisions. Okay, so we have now been rocking the Parkhurst The Richmond for my standard month or so, and I've got a pretty good take on the boots. I've worn them quite a bit, but before we get into all of that, let's talk about a few of the specs. This is the Richmond in the Prairie Waxy Commander colorway. This particular color option comes in at $368 USD. It features a Goodyear welted sole with a veg tan welt, and it has natural cork filling and a steel shank. The Waxy Commander leather comes from the famous CF Stead tannery. This features a leather-lined toe box and vamp. It also features a veg tan leather blend insole, and the outsole is the Parkhurst lug sole with a veg tan leather heel stack. These boots are made in Spain with final assembly and QC done in Buffalo, New York, USA. And finally, this boot is built on Parkhurst 602M last. Now, my boots are a size 8.5. I do generally wear a size 9 in sneakers and in some boots, but I do come in at a size 8.5 on the branding scale. And although Parkhurst does say that you should size down a half a size from your branding scale, I went with that size, and these boots fit me perfectly. Now, this boot does have a similar look to a boot that is very famous, very popular, that a lot of people get to know when they're getting into heritage footwear, and the 602M last is very similar to the Red Wing number 8 last, which is what the Iron Ranger is built on. And I can say these do fit like an Iron Ranger. So if you've gone through the painstaking task of trying to find yourself a Iron Ranger and doing all of the sizing and fitting, these actually fit just like an Iron Ranger. So even though Parkhurst does recommend that I size down, once I saw that they were built on the same or similar last to the Iron Ranger, I went with what I know fit in the Iron Ranger, and these actually fit me perfectly. Now, they do have a capped toe like the Iron Ranger, but the one thing we're not seeing, which a lot of people don't like with the Iron Ranger, we don't have that big bulbous toe to it. The Richmond has a nicely executed capped toe without giving what some people say is the clown shoe look of the Iron Ranger. Now, while I personally don't think the Iron Ranger looks like a clown shoe, I actually really like it. I like the little bit bigger or bulbous toe of it. I do like the little bit cleaner look of the Richmond over it, which is one of the reasons I actually ended up reaching out to Parkhurst to see if they would give me a sample, because I honestly prefer the aesthetic of the Richmond, the Parkhurst Richmond, over the Iron Ranger. They are a very similar looking shoe, a similar looking boot. The Richmond collar is also a little bit different, but all in all, it is a very similar service style looking boot, but I like this look. I think it looks a little bit cleaner, and honestly, it fits just as good. And from what I've heard, the break-in period with this, or what I experienced, is way better than what you experience with an Iron Ranger. From what I hear, the Iron Rangers take a excessive amount of time to break in, which really hurts your feet and are very uncomfortable. And the break-in period for these, I mean, I'm still probably breaking them, and they are a heritage style boot, but I'm not experiencing any foot pain or foot fatigue even in the first couple days of wearing them. I didn't really experience anything out of the ordinary that I wouldn't have experienced wearing just a new pair of sneakers. So all in all, the break-in experience of the Richmond was actually quite nice. I didn't have any pains or discomfort. I wasn't feeling like my feet were kept in these little leather prisons or anything at all. They're actually quite pleasant to wear, and other than the same aches that you might feel when you're starting to bend in that crease of any leather shoe, which went away with like 2-3 days, they were fine. I didn't have any of the horror stories that I hear trying to break in a pair of Red Wings. But how did I wear these while I was breaking these in? Well, I wore these just like I would any other shoe. I wore them to work, I wore them out and about, I threw them on the weekends when we were running around, doing whatever we were doing on the weekends, so casually to work. I didn't take these on any hiking trails or anything like that. It's a heritage style boot. I mean, I'm sure it could handle that, but I do have dedicated hikers, both a trail runner that I wear if I'm going to be a little more active, and hiking boots if I'm going into a little bit more aggressive terrain. So I didn't intend on using these as a hiker. I'm sure maybe in the long-term testing, I'll probably take these on a walk in the woods here or there, but in my initial review with testing. I didn't do that at all. So I wore these to work every single day. I wore these to several shoots in the office, and you could tell, I mean, there's some scuffing on the toe here. This actually just happened today on a shoot in studio. So you can tell I'm wearing these. I'm not babying these. I'm not treating these like they're some special $368 boots. I'm wearing these like I would wear any other shoe. I'd wear them for a couple days, maybe a week in a row. I'd switch them out depending upon what I was wearing, what I felt like wearing that day, or the activity that I was doing. Like if it was the weekend and we were gonna go swimming, I was throwing on a pair of flip-flops. I wasn't gonna wear a pair of boots to the pool. So, depending upon what I was doing is what I was wearing on my feet, as well as the rest of my body. So I wore these just like I would any other shoe. I swapped them out when I felt like it. I wore them to what I thought I would work good in, and I just wore them like I would to work. And again, a lot of shoots, mostly studio stuff. And yeah, I did do a couple in-studio shoots, some training videos, so I was moving around a lot of products. So you can see, I mean, they are getting a little scuffed up, but we'll get into all of that. But yeah, that's basically how I wore them, like I would wear any other boot or shoe, and swapped them out as I felt like it, or as I thought was needed. But how did the boots wear? Well, they were pretty damn good. Now this CF Tannery Waxy Commander leather, it does have this non-uniform look already into it, which really does help to hide a lot of the scuffing, because you could see here on the toe there's actually a few deeper scuffs. They just happened today. There's a little nick here on the heel, and then you could see on my right boot, this actually happened right around when I first got them. The toe, the tip of the toe is a little nicked, and I'm actually getting some more creasing on the top of the boot, and that's because when I'm kneeling down, I'm right-handed, so when I'm shooting, I bend to my right knee, and I will put my right toe to the ground and bend my right foot, which is why the tip of the right boot has a little bit more scuffing on the outside. That's where I rest my foot on the ground as I kind of roll it and bend my foot, and I'm getting a little bit more creasing here because that's where I'm bending my foot. So the right one is taking a little bit more creasing, but even so, if we want to go to like kind of the heel, you can kind of see this uneven look of the Waxy Commander leather because this is a waxed leather, which helps to make these boots more weatherproof, but also gives it this uneven look that really hides a lot of these scuffings and everything. So they already look a bit scuffed up and worn in, if you will, when you first get them, and it does help to hide a lot of that's going on as you're wearing them. But if you look at the toes of both of these boots, you can see and you can tell I am wearing these boots. I am not babying these boots. They're getting worn. Even on the back, on the heels, you could tell they're getting a little nicked up. So I am wearing these boots, and they are wearing really, really great. I said the break-in period was really nice with these. I didn't get any fatigue or anything like that. I didn't feel like I needed to rush home and take these boots off. I didn't feel like I needed to put any special insoles in these to give me more cushion while I'm breaking them in. And yeah, overall they broke in really good. They're feeling really good. They're wearing really, really well. And I've been wearing them quite a bit. One other note that I would like to say is that they're actually quite quiet for boots. Even when you're walking on some harder surfaces or linoleum or tile, you often get that squeak, but with this lug sole, I wasn't getting any of that squeak. They're actually a very quiet boot to wear, even when I was walking on surfaces that would normally give me a lot of squeak. Currently, it is August, so it is still summertime here, and I have been wearing these socks. Now, they are pretty awesome. They do have Miss Hazel Fantastic's face on them. I got these for my birthday in April, and I've been wearing these basically all summer long. Not just with boots, but I've been wearing these with sneakers and everything. I absolutely love these socks. Now, these, I have no idea where my wife got them. These are just one of those custom print your face on clothing sites, but they're pretty comfortable. They're not as thin as like a cheap thin sock. So they actually are, they're not thick. They're not a boot sock, but they are a little bit thicker than your cheap standard like dress sock or anything like that. But they are quite comfortable, and I've been wearing these all summer long, again, with my boots, with sneakers, basically with everything but flip-flops, and they've been great. I absolutely love these socks. Now, it is warmer, so I have been wearing a thinner sock, so I would be wearing a thinner sock anyway with boots, but these have what I have been wearing. Now, I did test fit them with my boot socks that are a little bit thicker. They are cushioned on the bottom, which would probably help with any boot breaking in with a little bit of cushion on the sole. These do not have any cushion on the sole. They do fit completely fine with the boot sock that is a little bit thicker. So I still have plenty of room in there. I don't feel like they stretched out a ton, if at all. I didn't notice anything being a little looser in the width or anything like that. I don't have any slippage. I don't have any hot spots. So wearing them even with a thinner sock, they're completely comfortable. No blisters, no slippage, no hot spots, nothing like that. And again, I did test fit them with a thinner boot sock. This is like a mid-weight boot sock. This is what I will generally wear in the winter, something like this of this weight. Test fit, wore completely fine. I kind of just walked around the house with them. I didn't wear them all day long. It's been too hot. I will sweat my ass off if I wear these socks in the summer. Even though the humidity has recently broke, it is still getting into the mid 80s, so I'm going to not wear these for another month and continue to wear my Hazel Fantastic socks. So the socks that I've been wearing actually have been really great. So I'm gonna say that also attests to the ability of these to break in quickly and comfortably, that I've been wearing a fairly thin sock with them with no padding, and I'm still not feeling any of that foot fatigue. And overall, these have been an absolute pleasure to wear. Now with that, let's get into the negatives. And honestly, I really couldn't think of anything that I would say is a negative. I had to get super nitpicky because nothing's perfect. I'm sure as I wear these long term, I'm gonna find something about the boots that I'm not liking a little bit more. But right now, the only thing that I can possibly think of is I think the heel stack might be a little too big. I feel like the heel could be like 1/8 of an inch, if not less, 1/16 of an inch, a little bit shorter. I feel like the heel stack's just a tiny bit too high. I felt like I was catching my heel on like steps or dragging my heel just a little bit. And honestly, it would happen like once and I would just correct it by stepping a little bit higher. But honestly, that's the only thing I got. And I had to get super incredibly nitpicky for me to even find that out, because honestly, these things have been so great to wear. I haven't really had it. I don't have anything bad to say about them. They've been incredibly comfortable. I love the look. I love the way they're wearing. I've worn these with a variety of different pants, and everything I've worn them with and everything I've worn them to do has been fine. So I really don't have anything negative to say. So I had to get super incredibly nitpicky to say that I think the heel stack might be like 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch, just a little bit too high. Just trim that down just a little bit. And honestly, that's probably also coming down to me wearing more wedge sole boots during the early summer months. Now let's talk about the positives. And I mentioned this a couple of times already. This leather. I absolutely love this Waxy Commander leather from CF Tannery. It is just awesome. It drew me in. I love it. I just think it looks so good. Even brand new, it looked so good. And as it's aging, I'm getting just these slight scuffs that if you didn't know these were scuffed, if you saw them on the website and then saw my boots, you probably wouldn't realize that the toes are scuffed up at all. But the way that they're scuffing, and it just looks like it's just natural, I absolutely love it. I love that look. And honestly, until I had these, I wasn't a fan of that like rough out leather look, which is like, you know, the rough side of the leather that's generally waxed to make them more weather resistant. But I'm really, really loving it. And I did get caught in a little bit of rain wearing these on the scooter, and my feet stay completely dry. It's not even much of a note to make because it wasn't really that much rain at all. So I do hope in the future to actually get these a little bit more wet so I can really test out and see how well they withstand the water, being that they're wax leather. And it does have a gusseted tongue that comes up the side, so we're not going to have that water, isn't gonna have that opportunity to come in. Even though it's a wax leather, the tongue is gusseted, it's connected, means it's sewn to the side, so creating a barrier where the water can't just rush in on the sides of the tongue. So we have this amazing looking leather. I absolutely love the way this leather looks. It just makes this boot look so cool. Like when I think of a heritage style boot, this is one of two images that pops into my head, and it's this boot, like this brown worn in leather. In my mind, a heritage work boot is a good beat up, worn in work boot, and this is what it would look like. It's this brown worn in leather, and these had it from the start, and they're only getting better the more I wear them. So I absolutely love this leather. It's amazing, it's very comfortable, and it just looks so damn good, and it's just getting better. The more it breaks in, the more it ages, it's just looking even better. I absolutely love this Waxy Commander leather, and it hasn't let me down yet. It's looking great, and I have gotten a couple of compliments on my boots from a few of my coworkers. And the next positive is something that I did talk about in the beginning of this video when I was comparing this to an Iron Ranger, is the fit of this boot. It fit great. Now again, Parkhurst does recommend you size down a half a size from your Brannock scale, especially if you're a narrow width. I do wear like a D or an E depending upon the construction style of the boot, but knowing that this was built on a 602M last that was very similar to the number 8 Red Wing last, I went with what I knew fit me in an Iron Ranger, and these fit me perfect. So I would say they're actually running pretty true to size. Now, breaking them in, that's where we're really going with this positive, is that breaking them in, it was fine. I had absolutely no issues breaking these in. I wasn't getting any fatigue or foot pain. Again, only things that I would have experienced with really any leather shoe or boot. It was really just kind of like the pinch when you're bending it. Sometimes the leather, because it's stiff, it doesn't want to flex very good, or when you bend, the leather's a little stiff and it kind of pokes you and the top of your foot, like right behind your toes, and it doesn't hurt, it's just uncomfortable. So I kind of felt that, and because this boot is a cap toe, it is a little bit thicker here, right in that exact spot, but after like 2 days, maybe 3 days, they were fine. It broke in, the leather loosened up just enough, and it wasn't an issue. And it wasn't even that bad. I've had worse experience breaking in some Vans than I did breaking in these Parkhurst boots, which is pretty interesting. I have literally had Vans that have been incredibly uncomfortable for the first week or two of wearing them until they broke in, and then I absolutely loved the shoes. But these were way easier to break in than several pairs of Vans, which you would think Vans are just gonna fit the same every time, completely comfortable. But no, they do not. And that is coming from someone that has been wearing Vans for at least 30 years. So while these boots will break in more over time, they are only about a month old, and this is a heritage style boot. The initial break-in period was really easy for me. I didn't have any issues at all. Not to say that you might not. Everybody's feet are built different, just like everybody's personality. So you may have a little bit of issues, but honestly, as far as heritage styles boots go, these fit great right out of the box with a very minimal break-in period, and they're feeling great. So the feel and fit directly out of the box was great, and honestly, I find that they're fitting true to size. Now, next, they look good with damn near anything I try to wear. I've worn these with a variety of different pants, be it jeans, be it pants, and while the Richmonds did work with every one of those outfits, I feel like they actually looked pretty damn good too. And these boots are a heritage construction with a Goodyear welt, so once you burn through these soles, these could easily be cut off and resoled, so you can continue to wear these boots for years and years to come. And the heel, even though I said it might be like a 1/16 of an inch too high, these lock in great on my scooter pegs. I can kick it and lock it in right there, and I'm completely solid on my scooter, and I can bomb hills at 45 miles an hour with ease. Yes, it's only a Honda Ruckus, and it only goes about 45 miles downhill in a tuck. Yeah, it's top speed. It's a 49cc scooter, but I absolutely love it. So they work great if you ride a motor scooter with forward mounted pegs. Very comfortable. They lock right in there. So overall, fit, feel, finish of the boots. Do I think these are worth $368 USD? And honestly, yeah, I do. I'm in love with these boots. These are great. I went with these because I thought they looked a little bit cleaner than the Iron Rangers. And honestly, from everything I've heard about the break-in period and how long those things take, these are amazing, and I'm so glad that I not only reached out to Parkhurst, but that they allowed me to test out their boots, because I'm in love with these boots. These are great. I absolutely love the look. I love the leather. They do come in other colorways, and the price will vary depending upon the colorway, but I absolutely love the look of the Prairie Waxy Commander boot. I love this look. The boot looks great, it feels great, it's been working amazing for me. I'm not gonna stop wearing these. There will be a couple of more reviews. I'm sure I'll do some check-ins, maybe some YouTube shorts, but I am gonna try to do a 6-month, roughly, give or take, right around 6 month, and then about a 12-month long-term review to see how these things are holding up over time. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe so you can check back, because I will be doing at least 2 more long-form reviews on this boot at about the 6-month and again about the 12-month period, give or take, you know, depending upon how I'm feeling and how they're wearing at the time. If I feel like they're falling apart, I'm going to do a check-in a little bit sooner. If I feel like they're holding up and they don't look like they've aged much in 6 months, I might go a little bit longer. But I'm gonna try to do that 6-month and 12-month checkup. So stay tuned, because we are going to check back in these. I'm going to use these for more case scenarios. The winter is coming. We don't get a ton of snow here anymore. I do live in northeastern Pennsylvania. We have had plenty of blizzards that I have shoveled out from, but it seems like the past 6, 8, 10 years, we get like maybe one decent snowstorm a year. We just get a lot of sloppy weather. So this waxed leather is going to come in very, very handy, probably from about mid-December to mid-March or so. So that's going to be a real sweet spot to test these boots out once we get all that winter slop coming in. And don't forget to check back, because I am going to wear these in that sloppy weather. I'm not going to baby these boots, as I have not been babying these boots. So these are going to get worn. They're gonna get worn in, hopefully not worn out, but we'll find out. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell next to it so you get notifications next time I post a brand new video. Good night.